The living room is completely quiet. Your dog is fast asleep on the rug. And then it happens in a flash. 1 minute they are entirely dormant. The next, they are a blur of fur racing through the hallway, banking off the couch, tearing across the rug with wild, wide eyes and a tucked pelvis. It is an explosion of kinetic energy, unpredictable, frantic, and completely, utterly chaotic. We playfully call them the Zoomies. We laugh at them. We pull out our phones to record viral videos. We assume they just have a little extra energy they need to burn off. It feels like a goofy, harmless canine quirk, a funny little glitch in their software, something they just do because they're dogs, and dogs do silly things. But behavioral neuroscience tells a completely different story. Most people assume the Zoomies are just a burst of random hyperactivity, but they are wrong. In the scientific community, the Zoomies are classified as Frenetic Random Activity Periods, or FRAPs. This isn't just goofiness. It is a highly calibrated neurobiological pressure valve. Today, we are transitioning from amusement to anatomical reality. We are going to decode the Zoomies, because what is actually happening inside your dog's nervous system is utterly fascinating. Understanding FRAPs requires us to look at the canine nervous system as a reservoir. Dogs in modern domestic environments accumulate massive amounts of sensory and physical energy throughout the day. When this reservoir hits absolute maximum capacity, the brain must find a way to discharge the excess. The FRAP is the body's ultimate release mechanism. But before we look at the chemistry, we have to look at the triggers. Why do they happen exactly when they do? Almost every owner has experienced the post-bath Zoomies. You turn off the water, and suddenly they are tearing through the house, rubbing their face violently on the carpet. Most people think the dog is just happy to be free, but the truth is much darker. A bath is a sensory prison for a dog. Unfamiliar smells, loud running water, total physical confinement. For 10 minutes straight, they are actively suppressing their natural flight response. They are exercising immense, taxing psychological impulse control. When the bath is over, the psychological dam breaks. Dr. Mark Bekoff, a world-renowned ethologist, points out this is a textbook example of rebound behavior. The dog's nervous system, which has been tightly coiled in a state of suppressed anxiety, violently uncoils. The running discharges the pent-up tension. The rubbing allows them to reestablish their own natural scent. Scent is incredibly important for a dog's spatial orientation. They are literally resetting their identity. And what about the post-defecation sprint? Many dogs go to the bathroom, tuck their tail, and do dead sprints around the yard. It's not just the feeling of physical lightness. It is biology. It is the vagus nerve. The vagus nerve is the longest cranial nerve in the body, running from the brainstem all the way down to the abdomen. Defecation stimulates this nerve. It causes a sudden, dramatic drop in heart rate and blood pressure, and the body instantly responds with a massive compensatory spike in arousal. Mammalian biologists sometimes refer to this phenomenon as poo-phoria. It creates a sudden, intoxicating sensation of physical relief. Furthermore, leaving the site of elimination quickly is an ancient survival instinct. Feces attract predators. A quick burst of speed away from the site is deeply hardwired into the canine brain. It is survival disguised as play. But what is physically happening inside the brain to make them run? What takes a dog from a state of deep REM sleep to a state of hyperkinetic frenzy in mere seconds? The autonomic nervous system, specifically the sympathetic branch. When a dog enters a FRAP, they experience a sudden, violent spike in sympathetic nervous system activity. This spike signals the adrenal glands. They flood the bloodstream with heavy catecholamines, adrenaline, noradrenaline. It happens instantly. The physical effects are staggering. Heart rate skyrockets. It pumps oxygen-rich blood to the major muscle groups. Respiratory rate doubles. Pupils dilate to absorb maximum visual data. Muscle tone turns to steel. The dog is suddenly prepared for explosive life-or-death movement. But if adrenaline were the only chemical at play here, the dog would be in a state of sheer panic. What makes a FRAP a joyous, playful experience rather than a terrifying one? This is where the chemistry becomes absolutely beautiful. As the dog initiates the sprint, the brain's reward pathways light up. The mesolimbic dopamine system kicks into overdrive. Dopamine dumps into the brain in heavy, intoxicating doses. The physical exertion of the sprint also triggers a massive release of endorphins. Endorphins are the body's natural painkillers. They are severe mood elevators. The dog is literally getting high on their own neurochemistry. Meanwhile, serotonin floods the system to keep the peace. Serotonin modulates the extreme arousal caused by adrenaline. It ensures that the dog's behavior remains joyful. It prevents the animal from crossing the threshold into predatory drift or genuine aggression. The Zoomies are a perfectly balanced chemical cocktail. Researchers at the Tufts University Animal Behavior Clinic note something incredible about this sequence. The hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis is firing. The central stress system is engaged. But in a FRAP, it is acute and incredibly short-lived. The brain quickly recognizes there is no actual threat. The parasympathetic nervous system reasserts control. This rapid cycling from baseline to peak arousal and back proves a highly resilient nervous system. But evolution does not waste calories. It does not risk devastating orthopedic injuries for no reason. In animal psychology, we always ask, what is the adaptive value of this behavior? Why did nature build the Zoomies? Look back 10,000 years. Wild canids surviving on the freezing steppes of Europe. Survival required absolute, undeniable physical perfection. You were fast or you starved. For young canids, FRAPs are a biological necessity. They are a safe, solitary simulation of life or death chases. When a puppy engages in a FRAP, they are practicing high-speed maneuvering. They are learning exactly how their body handles corners, how quickly they can decelerate, how to maintain balance on treacherous terrain. By engaging in these hyperkinetic bursts when the environment is safe, they are literally wiring their brain for survival. Furthermore, a FRAP diffuses social tension. Living in a wild pack is deeply stressful. Constant navigation of social hierarchies, brutal competition for food, territorial defense. A 2023 review in the journal Applied Animal Behavior Science highlights the metacommunicative signals dogs use to survive this tension. When a dog drops into a play bow, front legs extended, chest low, they are sending a specific message to the entire pack. That bow screams, "Everything I am about to do is non-threatening." It breaks the tension. The frantic running that follows discharges the profound social anxiety that builds up within the group. In domestic dogs, a FRAP serves the exact same purpose. It is a psychological reset button, a way to blow off steam and return to a relaxed state of equilibrium. And then there is the timing. Why do they always happen right before dinner? In pet psychology, we call it the witching hour. Between 5 p.m. and 8 p.m., dogs completely lose their minds. This is deeply rooted in ancient genetics. Dogs and their wolf ancestors are largely crepuscular. This means they are biologically programmed to be most active at dawn and dusk. These are the optimal times for hunting. The temperature drops. Prey becomes active. Thousands of years of domestication cannot erase the twilight hunt from their DNA. We often think of dogs as simple logic machines, conditioned entirely by rewards and punishments. Do a trick, get a treat. But the Zoomies present a scientific paradox. There is no external reward for a FRAP, no food, no praise, no tangible benefit. Yet they run with everything they have. Why? Because the mammalian brain finds immense joy in pure physical competence. The sheer exhilaration of speed provides its own massive psychological reward. It is an autotelic behavior, a behavior performed entirely for its own sake. Acknowledging this is a crucial shift in modern pet psychology. It proves that animals experience authentic, unadulterated joy. The American Kennel Club explicitly notes this in their behavioral guidelines. Zooming is a manifestation of eustress, positive stress. Running fast feels perfect. And amazingly, this feeling is highly contagious. Dogs are deeply empathetic creatures. They possess mirror neurons. These are brain cells that fire both when an animal acts and when they observe another animal acting. If a dog sees another dog break into a Zoomie, their mirror neurons fire immediately. They are almost powerless to resist joining in. This is social contagion, but it is not limited to dogs. They mirror us. If you come home highly energized, they absorb it. If you use a high-pitched voice or move quickly around the house, your dog's nervous system mirrors your arousal. They literally absorb the kinetic energy of the room, and they reflect it right back at you as a FRAP. But this is where the science takes a very serious turn, because a FRAP is not always joy. While we have established that FRAPs are a normal, healthy expression of energy, we must pivot. Can the Zoomies ever be a bad sign? Yes. As a pet parent, you must distinguish between eustress and distress. If your dog is zooming constantly, multiple times a day, and seems entirely unable to settle down afterward, this is no longer joy. It is a terrifying red flag. It means their foundational needs are not being met. It means they are suffering. The American College of Veterinary Behaviorists warns of chronic stress. An understimulated, chronically bored dog will use a FRAP as a desperate attempt to burn off physical and mental anxiety. In this scenario, they are not experiencing euphoria. They are experiencing crushing frustration. The Zoomies become a coping mechanism for a sterile, empty environment. Conversely, overstimulation is just as dangerous. A busy household, screaming children, constant visitors, an overcrowded dog park. This exposes the dog to nervous system overload. Their HPA axis is constantly firing. Their brain is absolutely bathed in cortisol, the primary stress hormone. A distressed Zoomie in this context is no longer a play sequence. It is a pure flight response. The dog is frantically, desperately trying to escape the overwhelming stimuli. Even worse is canine compulsive disorder, CCD. Some dogs cross the line from normal FRAPs into pathological compulsive behaviors. If your dog's zooming morphs into obsessive tail chasing, or chasing shadows on the wall, or pacing the exact same path in the living room until their paws literally bleed, this is no longer a Zoomie. This is a psychiatric emergency. It is akin to OCD in humans, characterized by severe serotonin imbalances. It requires immediate intervention from a veterinary behaviorist. How do you tell the difference? Look at the body language. A healthy Zoomie features a loose body, play bows, relaxed ears, and open, panting mouth. After a minute, they voluntarily stop, do a full-body shake-off to reset their nerves, and relax. An unhealthy Zoomie is rigid. The body is incredibly stiff. The eyes are dilated and frantic. They vocalize with distressed, high-pitched whines. When they stop, they remain hypervigilant. Do not ignore a dog stuck in a state of high distress. If your dog is experiencing a normal, healthy FRAP, what is your role? The rules of pet psychology are very clear. Number 1, do not chase them. This is the most common mistake owners make. From the dog's psychological perspective, you chasing them confirms the game is on. It escalates their arousal. It forces them to run faster and make dangerous, sharp turns to evade you. If you need them to stop, do the exact opposite. Freeze, drop to the ground, or run away. Number 2, prioritize environmental safety over behavioral correction. A dog in a FRAP has their logic center, the prefrontal cortex, temporarily offline. It is entirely overridden by the amygdala. Trying to teach a dog to sit during a Zoomie is an exercise in total futility. They literally cannot process your command. Just manage the space, move fragile objects, open doors, coax them onto rugs to prevent devastating cranial cruciate ligament tears on slippery hardwood floors. When the FRAP begins to wind down naturally, help their nervous system shift back to parasympathetic rest. Use olfaction. Tossing high-value treats into the grass forces them to use their nose. Sniffing physically forces a dog to slow their breathing, naturally lowering their heart rate. Or offer a frozen lick mat. The repetitive motion of licking releases heavy endorphins, acting as a grounding technique to bring the brain back to baseline. Decoding the Zoomies changes everything. We transition from watching a funny internet video to witnessing a profound neurobiological masterpiece. When your dog tucks their tail and sprints across the yard, they are not just being goofy, they are experiencing a massive rush of dopamine and adrenaline. They are practicing ancient motor patterns. They are discharging the emotional tension of their day. They are expressing deep, undeniable, biological joy. Our goal should never be to eradicate the Zoomies. Our goal is to keep them safe and recognize it for what it is, a sign of a happy dog who feels entirely, perfectly safe in your presence. What is the wildest thing your dog does right before a Zoomie? Tell me in the comments below. I read every single one. Next week, we are looking at the guilty look dogs give when they destroy something. But here is the spoiler. They don't feel guilt. What they actually feel is even stranger than you'd expect. Subscribe, and I'll see you then.